Thaniel is resting, but it's no easy slumber. I discovered what's wrong with him. The shadows rendered him in two when they bore him away to the Shadowfell. Half of his essence remained here, amidst the curse. What stayed behind would have been the strongest part of him. But after all these years left in the darkness, corruption must have taken hold. I knew something was wrong when he didn't wake up. But now I'm even more certain. By now we should have seen some small glimmer of Thaniel's power. A sign that the land is healing. New growth, flowers in bloom. But there has been nothing. Perhaps, if we can find Thaniel's lost half and make him whole again. Only the missing half may not come willingly. The curse will have sunk its tendrils deep, twisting Thaniel's essence into something else. No matter how it's been twisted by the shadows, it is still part of Thaniel's essence. It will resemble him somehow and may show signs of his power. Look for signs of life in the darkness, wildflowers where everything else is dead. The curse cannot subdue the power Thaniel bears. Not entirely.
In fact, I saw just the sort before, not long after we first came within reach of the shadow curse. Fool that I am, I did not grasp their significance at the time. There is a ruin some way outside of Last Light. I caught a glimpse of fresh blooms there, but did not investigate further. I shall mark it upon your map.
This doesn't have to be your burden alone. Every moment counts, and I've asked much of you already without being at your side. If you want me, I'm yours. Against the curse, against the absolute. Anything. Just say the word. You are blessed with several companions as it is. Perhaps dismiss one if you require me. Ready at your side. Oakfather preserve you. Only by reputation. She was present when we marched against Ketheric Thorm, but on the far end of the battle lines from where I fought. And in the chaos that ensued, well, our forces were scattered. I led some to safety, but never learned of her fate. I'm glad to hear she survived. Though in truth, I should not be surprised. She was always said to be formidable and cunning. I could have learned much from her, no doubt. No matter how long I live, I will always strive to remain a keen pupil. Only a fool would think he could drink in all knowledge until none is left. There is always more. Nature's tapestry is infinitely complex. I cannot help but wonder how she would have handled some of the challenges I faced as Archdruid. Defended the Grove, Korga, the Shadow Druids. At least now we can benefit from her presence, and perhaps work to a common goal. Honestly, I never thought I'd make it that far. But the Absolute is a threat to all, and I promised I'd help you with your parasite. So, I'll remain with you, If you'll have me, that is. So do I. But one duty at a time. Druids and Harpers joined together to put a stop to Ketheric Thorm. We marched on Moonrise, and after much fighting, we prevailed. Even in defeat, though, Ketheric turned to Shah. Not long after we sealed him away in his tomb, the Shadow Curse took hold. No one had seen the likes of it before. No one knew how to react. Then it started to claim all those within its reach. Those who had survived the battles now fell to the shadows, became part of the shadows. And worst of all, I lost contact with Thaniel. I wanted to try and find him, but we couldn't stay. We would have all succumbed. When the Archdruid of the Grove, my predecessor, was seized by the curse, I had to lead the survivors to safety. That was my first day as Archdruid. An inauspicious beginning. You are right, but I must not lose focus until everything has been put right. I've wasted too much time already. Years in which nature has suffered. It's true, and I can't imagine I helped with that. Sometimes I let the task at hand consume me, and people think I'm obsessed. Trust me, the day I no longer have to talk about the Shadow Curse will be a happy one. What would you like to know? I am? Trust me, it's been said. You show more restraint than most in avoiding the subject until now. Who's to say? Perhaps there's a half-orc buried somewhere in my ancestry. Or perhaps not. Sometimes I think conventional wisdom is too narrow about what someone can or cannot be. Stranger things have most certainly happened. I had a friend when I was young, long ago. He played with me in the forests where I grew up. But eventually, I realized no one else had heard of him. It was Thaniel, of course. Nature was my very first friend. I get older, but he hasn't changed a day. I knew then that I had to be more than a companion to him. I had to be a protector. You're not a doppelganger, are you? Trying to study me to learn all my secrets so you can take my place? Save for me, my line perished a long time ago. They rest in High Forest now, near the shade of the grandfather tree. The Grove became my family, with Sylvanas as my teacher. And now I have you. I'm 350 years old. Of course there have been lovers. Just because I love nature doesn't mean I'm betrothed to it. Though sometimes nature needs reminding. Well, I didn't pick this scar up in battle. I was in wild shape. Only I forgot it was the season when bears are particularly social. A she-bear claimed me as her own and did not appreciate being spurned. Right now, I bed down alone, I'm afraid. Perhaps once I talk less of curses and parasites, my fortunes will improve. I suppose you wouldn't be shocked to learn I love animals and nature? I know. Well-trodden territory. Well then, let's see. I whittle in my spare time, and I've something of a sweet tooth. Although everyone's very amused when I say I like honey. Ornaments, utensils, and ducks. I like ducks. You're right. Sometimes I think people look at me and imagine my feelings can't be hurt. Thank me by returning the favor, why don't you? Come on. I'm sure you've something better than carving wooden ducks. Well, they are fierce creatures from what I understand. But as long as you avoid the high seas, I think you can consider yourself safe. Anytime. Given the circumstances, you're faring as well as can be expected, I suppose.
I think I'll enjoy traveling with Halsin. Not for his wit or wisdom. He'll just make an excellent shield if we're attacked.
Halsin's proved himself a fine ally already. He'll be useful in battle, if those tree trunk arms are an indication.
Halsin is one hench elf. I'm impressed. And glad he's on our side.
It's about time Halsin actually stepped up and joined us properly. He's certainly been taking up space at camp for long enough.
A savvy move recruiting Halsin to our cause. While I'm adept at most forms of weave manipulation, druidic magic is not my area of expertise. He will make for a most useful option to have in reserve.
Halsin is such a delight. Woe to the cultist who tangles with that thick hunk of an elf.